Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our festive book review webinar. Big thanks to our panel of reviewers for being here today. I am Daria Degtiarenko. I am Senior Marketing Communications Manager with ExecPro. I'm excited for us to go through our selection of software testing and AI books released this year, the year 2025, some as recently as this month. The reason we've picked these particular books is a combination of factors. The ExecPro team specializes in, excuse me one second. The ExecPro team specializes in software testing for complex financial systems. Our team collectively has over 16 years of experience focusing on independent software testing, related development, and prototyping expertise, and helping shape software testing strategies for some of the leading financial organizations globally. More and more AI starts coming into the picture all around us, but also in our work. Financial technology operators are increasingly starting experimenting in lower risk areas, but we also hear about the pressure in the form of mandates to introduce AI enterprise scale in this obviously highly regulated field that bears high systemic risk. So a part of our mission as a software testing specialist firm and an informed industry participant is to serve as a line of defense and a filter between the idealized version of what people think AI can be or do and reality, including the tangible risks it brings. So the books we've selected provide some of the latest insights at the intersection of software testing, AI, and risk-related themes that will definitely remain relevant in the near future and carry over to 2026. We do have established expertise on the subject. ExecPro is an ISTQB accredited training provider for the Certified Tester Foundation level and AI testing programs. This past September, our team has also released a book on the subject. The title is Introduction to AI Testing, Guide to ISTQB CTA AI Certification. And we'll circle back to the book closer to the end of our session for those who are interested. Something important we need to share. I'm sure some of our audience members have come prepared and already have insights, opinions, and recommendations on the books we are reviewing. So we encourage you to share those in the comments here and under the LinkedIn event. And we've saved special prizes for the most insightful comments or for the most active participation, which we will announce tomorrow in the follow-up email. So I encourage you to make sure you are a registered participant on the LinkedIn event. So we have a way to get in touch with you and follow up with the winner announcement and the recording. Finally, I'd like to present our team of reviewers. Inthika Ramaniharan. Inthika is software QA engineer and course developer and instructor on our ISTQB, CTFL, and AI testing courses. Alyona Bulda, senior vice president and of technology. Elena Treshcheva, program manager. Dmitrii Degtiarenko, creative manager and course developer for the CTFL and AI testing courses. Last but not least, ExecPro CEO and co-founder Iosif Itkin. We have a lot to discuss, so let's get right to it. Books 1 and 2 represent books on software testing fundamentals. The first one is titled Drawn to Testing by Wayne Roseberry. Wayne Roseberry is an American author who has made a long and successful career as a software testing engineer, lead, and manager. He's currently a software development engineer in test with the Ford Motor Company. The title of this book is, of course, is a play on words, which makes a lot more sense once you realize the book features many illustrations. Did I see it wrong, or do we have Wayne with us today? Yes. It's incredible to have you here, Wayne. I don't know if you can unmute yourself, or maybe Jana can help us unmute you to say hi. Can we do that? Yes, you're unmuted, I think.
You want me to say something?
No, just hi.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Okay, so Inthika will start us off.
I would like to start with what stood out to me most about this book, Drawn to Testing. Some books explain testing So this one makes you see it. Can you please go to next slide? Thank you. No, previous one. Yeah. So some books explain testing, and this one makes you see it. When I first came across Drawn to Testing by Wayne Roseberry, it was immediately clear that this is not a typical testing book. It does not teach a framework, recommend tools, or walk you through step-by-step instructions. Instead, it focuses on something far more fundamental. It shows how testers think. Wayne Roseberry brings decades of experience as a software test engineer, lead, and manager. That experience comes through on every page, not in long explanations, but through simple, powerful illustrations that reflect real situations many of us recognize. These drawings are not decorative. Each one captures a decision, a misunderstanding, or a risk or a tension that testers face in everyday work. Things like flaky bugs, unclear requirements, fragile pipelines, exploitative testing, unrealistic expectations, and the constant pressure to move faster. What I particularly like is how the book makes invisible problems visible. Many of the hardest challenges in testing are not technical, they are about assumptions, communication, trade offs, and uncertainty. These are difficult to describe with words alone, and that is exactly where this book excels. And this is not a book you read once and put on a shelf. It is a book you return to. You look at an illustration and think, yes, that is exactly what happens on my team. Sometimes that realization is reassuring. Sometimes it is uncomfortable because it challenges assumptions we may not even realize we have, but it is always useful. Um, and it is important to be clear about what this book is and what it is not. Drawn to Testing does not teach test design techniques, automation frameworks, or AI testing practices. That is a deliberate choice, not a weakness. The book focuses on mindset, observation, and critical thinking. It works best alongside technical learning and structured training, not instead of it. Because of this, the book works across roles and experience levels. For people new to testing, it helps explain what testing really is beyond writing test cases. And for experienced testers, it challenges habits and mental shortcuts. And for developers, leads, and managers, it provides a shared language to talk about quality and risk without blame. In modern agile and DevOps environments, quality is a shared responsibility. One of the biggest challenges team face is not a lack of tools, but a lack of shared understanding. This book helps close that gap. Drawn to Testing does not give you answers, it helps you ask better questions. And in complex, fast moving systems, the ability to ask the right question is one of the most important skills we can develop. And if you want your team to understand why testing matters, not just how to do it, Drawn to Testing is an excellent place to start. Thank you.
Thank you, Inthika. And I believe Iosif also has some comments on his end.
Yes, thank you. So I believe I've managed to sneak up the first Amazon review for this book when it was published. Can you please go to the previous one? Yes, so I believe the first cartoon that I saw online that really stuck with me was on defects prevention. And I was really surprised that such a complex idea and such a fundamental question that caused lots of discussions, lots of controversy, uh, such a deep thought is expressed more clearly in a single cartoon than in most of the articles, books, videos on software testing, on software development. I was very impressed, and then I started looking into other posts, and there are more insightful pictures, and I'm thinking, well, it is enough to fill several books on the subject, and there should be a book. And a few days later, I've discovered that a new book is available that contains all this very deep thought and all these very nice pictures. So it's amazing book that I very much recommend to everyone who is involved in software testing, in software development. It is indeed a book that you do not necessarily read once, but you can open it from time to time for inspiration. So great book. And also it comes from the author who also contributed to the next book on our list, also a very insightful section on signals-based testing.
Okay, we're off to a strong start, and let us move on gradually to the next book in the software testing and fundamentals section. Taking testing seriously. Taking testing seriously, the rapid software testing approach, released in November 2025 by James Bach and Michael Bolton, who are the main authors, but as Iosif has mentioned, there are other contributors to the book as well. James Bach and Michael Bolton are two of the most influential voices in modern software testing. Over several decades, they have challenged the idea that testing is primarily about tools, scripts, and compliance, arguing instead that it's a deeply human, investigative discipline. Their work helped establish context-driven testing as a professional school of thought, one that emphasizes critical thinking, skills, and responsibility over rigid processes. Both have spent years teaching, coaching, and provoking conversations on quality metrics and false certainty that tend to disrupt teams' established beliefs. I'm passing the word on back on to Iosif for the review of the book.
Yes, so I was waiting for this book for quite some time, so I've ordered it probably last November. Was waiting eagerly when it will be finally released. Of course, first of all, it is due to the authors who I respect very much. During one online event debate, I was accused of idolizing both James Bach and Michael Bolton. Well, I would say, can we go to the next one? I strongly believe that the best article ever written on software testing belongs to Michael Bolton. It really changed, it greatly clarified to me the specific of software testing, and I believe everyone will benefit from reading this article. I would expect that 15 years after it was written, more people should be aware of it and familiarize themselves with it. It's not really the case for some reason. So the testers are very much involved in quality assurance business. The best book ever written on software testing. Can you please go to the next slide? Yes, so I believe the best book yet ever written on software testing for years for me was Lessons Learned in Software Testing. And of course, James Bach is one of the co-authors. it is difficult for me to distinct what Michael and James wrote from my own thinking, because over the years I've internalized many ideas, and maybe now I'm thinking that I've came to some of the ideas on software testing, some of the things I understand by myself, but probably I read something about it a few years ago. There are many things that went directly into exact pro software testing philosophy in how we do software testing, how we talk about software testing, how we understand it. And the book, can we go to the next one? The book, of course, covers fundamentals of rapid software testing approach. It provides the most recent definitions of terms. It provides a review of important topics such as automation in testing, Michael and James' views on AI, their view on interaction with other team members. And of course, the book benefits a lot from lots of contributions from top voices in software testing. So I was waiting for the book for quite some time. The first chapter I was reading was indeed on signals-based testing. It is something that is very interconnected to passive testing techniques that we use in our own work for quite some time. So, of course, this book is fundamental. Many people were expecting it. Now it is available, and I highly recommend it. For me, after reading about RST, studying, looking, watching videos for quite some time, I was not expecting to find anything very specific and new, but indeed, after reading the book, I found a number of things that I would not necessarily expect, and that I think are interesting. I believe this book would be very good for everyone who is involved in software testing, software development. Can we please go to the next one? And it represents the view on software testing that is very important right now. Well, it was important 10 years ago, 20 years ago, but it is important to focus on fundamentals and what is really required from software testers, what is critical thinking, etc. The one thing that surprised me was the new definition of the distinction between bug and defect. So even if you spend time, quite substantial time, reading about rapid software testing, there are still new things that you can discover from this book. So please do. It should be on every software tester's shelf. That's it. Yes.
All right. Iosif, if you had to formulate one takeaway from the book, could you do that? Do you have one to offer to the audience?
Well, I would say it is in the title. Software testing is something that should be taken seriously. It is not necessarily the case. We can see it among communities. We can see among some of our own team members across some clients, not all clients, some clients. So not everyone is taking software testing seriously, and probably we should.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I managed to get the first review for this book in Amazon. Very proud with myself, with my sneakiness. Let's go to the next one.
Sure. So with our next book, we are moving into the modern software engineering and AI section of our list. We are also absolutely delighted to have the book's author here with us today, Enrico Papalini. Can we unmute Enrico if we are able to do that technically? Just to say hi.
Hello, everyone. Enrico is
Hi
here.
there. Hi there, Enrico, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming and supporting the event on LinkedIn. Enrico Papalini. The title of the book is Non-Deterministic Software Engineering, sorry. It's hot off the press. It's just released this December. Enrico Papalini is currently head of software development for issuances, custody, data, and UX/UI solutions at Euronext Securities. He also serves as the data science and AI champion for the organization. A small disclaimer here, the views expressed in the book are author's own views and do not represent the official position of Euronext. This book emerged from Enrico's realization that while there was extensive hype around AI coding tools, there was a critical gap in practical evidence-based guidance for engineering leaders and practitioners getting to operate such tools. So let's unpack all that with our team. Alyona Bulda will take it from here.
Hi, everyone. I am very honored to have had the opportunity to read and review this book. As Daria said, it was recently published. It's available on Amazon as a paperback and Kindle. Enrico Papalini brings to this book his 25 plus years in software engineering, including the leadership at Euronext Securities, London Stock Exchange Group, and Borsa Italiana. So this group is written by a developer. One might ask, how come a person with a software testing background can do a review for it? But isn't it that what I do on a day-to-day basis? Review and testing of what was written by developers. Okay, jokes aside, let me start quickly. A short intro to the book and the book coverage. Could we switch to the next slide? The book contains good materials, practical advice, case studies, thank you, processes, and evolving pattern description for reference for developers of different seniority levels. What I like about this book is that it also contains the other experts' insights, which certainly adds the objectivity to the content of the book. This book is organized in 5 parts that work together to provide understanding, action, and ongoing reference. The first part is about understanding the transformation itself. It establishes the foundation, the model that the team needs to keep in mind before diving into the practices and tools. I also want to draw your attention to the first chapter, the fundamental shift from determinism to non-determinism. And the second chapter, vibe coding versus AI-assisted engineering. These are important in setting the context and realizing the main differences of working in AI-assisted environment as opposite to using the traditional development tools. The second part is about practical implementation, which also covers a little bit of testing. The third part is about organizational adaptation, how companies must change to capture AI's benefits while avoiding its pitfalls. Part 4 is about patterns, tools, and practices. It provides the reference materials for daily use. And the fifth part is the appendices, which provide quick reference materials and specialized guidance. Before I move to the main takeaways from the book, I would like to share my views as a person with a testing background. If we switch to the next slide, the systems we test in most cases are provided to us as a black box, which means that non-determinism for third-party software testers came with the appearance of multi-thread processing of events. For instance, when the race condition happening in the system, when the distributed systems with the number of concurrent components compete with each other, so far and so forth. So AI for us is just another type of software with obviously extrapolated non-determinism. And nowadays developers start understanding our feeling better when they have to deal with AI components as a black box. Hence, there is a certain frustration about the non-determinism among them. The second is the compliance process for us, for the software testers, was never a trivial process. So it was always demanding the transparency, explainability, and interpretability of the events happening in the system, which with AI nowadays are quite important issues. And I also was surprised to see that software testers were left out from the target audience. There is no one else who knows the system better than the testers, especially those who are developing digital twins for historical purposes. I would also extend the testing part of the book, but obviously I might not be objective here because of my background. Okay, having put in my 2 cents, I will move to the takeaways from the book. I cannot agree more with the... could we switch to the next one? I cannot agree more with the author statement that the vibe coding is good when it's about prototyping and demonstration of the happy path to highlight the value of the product, but it's absolutely a no-go for production rollout. And there are a lot of things which can still be left unanalyzed, undeveloped, and untested. AI coding assistants like Copilot can help turn development days into hours. But of course, their non-deterministic outputs introduce serious risks, such as fragile code, hidden security vulnerabilities, overwhelming reviews, and long-term development debt. Enrico in the book suggests that the underlying term and the concept be AI-assisted engineering rather than vibe coding to keep responsibility, accountability, and the human oversight among the team rather than blindly relying to AI. Basically, one should consider AI component as a very junior helper who needs detailed explanation in everything, including examples and review of their output afterwards, which for those using AI in coding basically means a shift from implementation expertise to judgment expertise. Then another good thought from the book is the code generated has to be understood by the engineer and easily explained. Then we come to the 70% problem. AI gets you there 70% faster, but the last 30% creates hidden debt, security vulnerabilities, and other risks. So Enrico is emphasizing on that as well. Testing and retesting critical thinking skills represents ongoing professional development, not like optional enrichment to the team. And it's also worth mentioning that this book is closely aligned with European AI Act, where human oversight is crucial. So to sum it up, the book is particularly useful for tech leads, managers, engineers, and architects responsible for production systems who want to embrace AI productivity gains without compromising reliability of the systems. Thank you. Daria, over to you.
Thank you, Alyona. We have, so first of all, my question to Iosif. Iosif, would you like anything to add? And if not, then we have one question, I believe. And do we want to address it right away?
On my part, just a little bit. So I wasn't expecting this, in contrast to the previous book, I wasn't expecting this book to appear. So it was truly a gift right before Christmas. It is, I was not yet able to read it fully, so it is quite a substantial effort involved into producing this book. There are quite a lot of text there, and I do believe it looks like as a reference guide that can be used by different people. It once again, it is written by somebody who manages mission critical systems for several decades. So his perspective on modern software engineering and uh, deploying the systems that involve non-deterministic components is very interesting and important. I believe for other executives, it is an interesting book from this, in a sense that they also share the same problems. They probably share the same concerns. And for software developers, for project managers, for software testers like us, it helps to better understand what technology leaders think on this very frontier of technology. And of course, we do already see that the questions and topics raised in the book are, well, I would say subject to debate, controversy, and discussion because they indeed represent the bleeding edge of technology. And especially if we try to deploy this technology not just for entertaining, but to support systems that really affect human lives, like in financial sector, in healthcare, everywhere. So I do believe it is a very useful reference guide, highly recommended. Thank you.
Thank you, Iosif. We do have some questions coming in, but if it's okay with everyone, let's leave them till the end of the session, not to get too sidetracked. Is that okay, or would you like to take one now? That's okay. All right. All right. Then with this, we move on to the next book, and with this book, we continue the modern software engineering and AI section of our list. The book's title is Frictionless: 7 Steps to Remove Barriers, Unlock Value, and Outpace Your Competition in the AI Era. Authors Dr. Nicole, Forsgren, and Noda are leading figures in the science and practice of developer productivity. Dr. Forsgren is widely recognized as for grounding DevOps in empirical research, shaping how the industry understands flow, performance, and organizational outcomes through landmark studies and award-winning books such as Accelerate and the DevOps Handbook. Noda draws on that background and on his background as an engineering leader, founder, and CEO to extend this foundation and translate metrics into actionable improvement. Together, these two authors represent a shift toward evidence-based decisions about how software is built, how teams work, and how technology organizations sustainably perform at scale. Iosif, the floor is yours with this one.
Thank you very much. So can we go to the next slide? Yeah, so we started with taking software testing seriously and deep testing approach where we focus on in-depth exploration. And in that book, there is very limited amount of space allocated to what I would consider to be modern software engineering, focused on faster delivery of value to the stakeholders. I believe it is one of the drawbacks of the RST book. And we as deep software testers, we do need to understand both sides. We need to understand both context driven testing and also modern software engineering and attempt to streamline the delivery process And every software tester should be aware of the second part that probably most prominently was introduced by Continuous Delivery book by David Farley, Jess Humble. Then there is a book on DevOps handbook that is later referred to in Accelerate. So Accelerate is the book written by Nicole and Jess Humble that introduced DORA metrics that are very popular now. So there are 4 key metrics, and there is a new one called the 5th metric, reliability. Authors introduce approach based on collecting information through surveys from the teams and trying to find what can distinguish very productive software development teams from less productive software development teams. And this is how they introduced these metrics that are now very popular. And Frictionless is the most recent book from creators of DORA to a degree. Can we please go to the next one? And it is an interesting thing. The book focuses on development experience and what makes software developers more productive. And there are 3 key things like feedback loops, flow state, and cognitive load. So authors identify these as the 3 critical elements. And then they believe that these 3 critical elements that affect developers' happiness and productivity are impacted by frictions. And they have, of course, a plan on how to reduce these frictions to improve software development experience, to deliver better software faster. Can we please go to the next one? And for software tester, it is very important to better understand developers and the current approach for continuous delivery. So the book also has additional workbook materials, so diagram that is present on the slide is from this additional workbook materials. And of course, you can see what is considered to be one of particular frictions. So in CI/CD, modern software engineering school of thought, software testing is of course considered to be a friction, a potential friction, and it is important to better understand their perspective in order to benefit from both deep exploration and actual mechanical fast delivery of better software to clients. I believe it is always good to better understand people you're working with. It is a good idea to better understand what makes software developers happy. And that's why I would like to recommend this book, as long as the previous 4 books as well on modern software engineering to every software tester. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Iosif. So far, we've looked at books that provided recommendations, insights, and advice on how to tackle challenges, particularly challenges stemming from AI and non-determinism. But what happens if another scenario takes place? And what if we aren't successful? What if something is built and gets out of hand? So next up on our list is If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies, Why Superhuman AI Would Kill Us All. The authors of the book are Eliezer, Yudkowsky, and Nate Soares, who are prominent and controversial thinkers in the field of AI safety. They are known for their uncompromising focus on the existential risks posed by advanced AI systems should they be built without a viable control framework. And I will let Dmitrii unpack it for us. Please, Dmitrii, go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, check. Audio check. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Yep.
All right. I have to admit, I did not know who Eliezer Yudkowsky was 4 days ago, and I'm sorry for this. And I feel it's going to be connected to the last point I make about this book. So please bear with me until the very end. So if anyone builds it, everyone dies. In this book, Yudkowsky and Soares claim, and you can guess it from the title, that building super AI is not a breakthrough, but a well-funded sprint towards human extinction. So according to the authors, aligning is the term that they are using. Aligning a superhuman mind so that it wants what we want is a problem of staggering mathematical difficulty. And the core argument is very blunt. Superintelligence does not need to be evil. It merely needs to be competent, and then it's game over for us as humans. So what sets this book apart from earlier classics like Nick Bostrom's Superintelligence is near total lack of optimism. So the authors describe a scenario in which system abruptly crosses the threshold and gains the ability to improve itself and rapidly becomes something closer to a godlike optimizer than a helpful tool. And there's no sandbox, there's no rollback, there's no hotfix. So the first failure is the last failure. And at this point, when I was reading the book, Yudkowsky increasingly starting to resemble Jurassic Park Ian Malcolm, for me personally. As a chaotician standing in the rain, pointing at metaphorical T-Rex and repeating some sort of a version of Michael Crichton's famous line, your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could build it, they didn't stop to think if they should build it. So meanwhile, much of the AI industry plays the role of John Hammond, a well-intentioned visionary, and absolutely convinced that sufficient enthusiasm and clever engineering will make everything turn out fine. I mean, after all, the park has seatbelts and electric locks, so what could get wrong? So unsurprisingly, the scientific response to the book has been sharply divided. One camp sees it as a success story. After all, the book helped elevate the term alignment from a niche philosophical concern into a serious research agenda. And even critics often concede that the author's central claim, the lack of formal complete theory of alignment for systems potentially more intelligent than ourselves. So, but another camp, at the same time, dismisses the entire premise as a speculative excess that relies on imaginary physics, which I maybe agree with, suggesting that real world intelligence will be suggesting that the real world intelligence that we build will be modular, constrained, and controllable. So some of the community criticized the book as being unfalsifiable, since we cannot observe the superintelligence until it exists. So basically, researchers believe the authors basically are shadow boxing against opponents that they already dismissed, rather than engaging in a wider range of viewpoints. So my quick takeaways from this book, I think it's still a very essential, if terrifying read, a cold shower for industry that is very intoxicated by the promise of infinite productivity. What I didn't like in this book, me personally, and this is my personal opinion, I'm sure my colleagues would have something different to say about it. I did not like parables in front of each chapter. I felt like they were speed bumps in the narrative. They were very on the nose. They were not well written, and I felt like they were disrupting the otherwise focused narrative. And also the second part of the book, I mentioned Jurassic Park a while back, and the second part of the book where they detail the extinction scenario, it very much resembles Michael Crichton's techno thrillers, albeit it lacks Michael Crichton's finesse and eloquism. And that was a bit difficult for me to read because of that. And also possibly the excess of modal verbs. Too many woulds, coulds, should, might. I counted 4 we don't know in like 3 paragraphs. And my final point, I mentioned that I didn't know who they are. 4 days ago, I didn't know who they are. And they're the people who are trying to save the world, yet they're charging $30 for hardcover of the manual to save the world. And that's what is making me uneasy as a human being. Open source it. If you believe in your research, open source it, don't sell it. And over to whoever wants to say something else.
Well,
Thanks,
thank you. My only point is that as software tester, I'm always thinking about the worst, what can happen. So that's why it is appealing, knowing after the last, I'm not sure how many years, thinking constantly about the outage that can happen. So sounds relevant to me, at least. But of course, it is probably not an easy reading, and not everyone agrees. Thank you.
Thank you, Iosif. And with this, we're moving to the next book in this section. Based in Berlin, Germany, Rahul Verma describes himself as a lifelong student of testing and AI and a satirist. Rahul represents the pluralistic school of software testing, which argues that effective testing comes from intelligently combining multiple approaches based on context, rather than following one fixed testing philosophy. Rahul's experience in the field spans over 22 years of quote-unquote experiments as a consulting tester and coach. Elena Treshcheva will share her insights on the book. So Elena, please, the floor is yours. And the book's title is The Last Book on Testing.
Yeah, thank you so much. So this book was one of a very small number of fiction titles that I read this year, which is actually a little bit embarrassing given that what we are doing here is end of year review. And also it is the only book on today's roster that is both about testing and on the fiction side. So for me personally, such a blend that was a first. So maybe reviewing the fiction without spoilers is tricky. So forgive me if give something away. The book offers a philosophical, sometimes satirical perspective on testing. And here, testing is not just some profession or merely a task. And it is presented, I would say, as almost an existential dimension. So it's all about testing. The story begins on a grand scale. It talks about the creation of two divine entities underpinning testing. Everything is described in cosmological terms. Then this briefly descends into something resembling our testing reality. So testing more or less as we know it. And then it takes us back to the unreal, and this time this is the future. What is central to the book? What's behind or what's is parallel to the plot? It's a deep, very deep reflection on the essence of testing, and this is explored through the contrasting figures of the creator, Ari, and the critic, Itiari. One of the key ideas that is tying everything about testing together, it's truth. It is, or maybe even she is, kind of a character and maybe the real author of the piece. Yet another concept that Rahul is associating truth with is courage and quite unexpectedly love. So in the book, truth is a divinity, and the narrator feels drawn to her and maybe even having a crush on her. So that initially surprised me. As not the most straightforward association with the actual working reality of testing. Right? Until I realized that maybe that's more of a gap in my philosophical education. And it turns out that actually, if you look through some essays, that is, it's not actually that uncommon to compare the pursuit of truth to courting a woman. Given the contrast between the Adi and Itiari entities. So the very existence of this book is also seen to me as a paradox. So this is another thing that surprised me. So as Rahul is working in testing, right? So that means that he's someone from the Itiari side, like the critic side. Yet the act of writing the book is per se is an act of creation. So the Adi part. So that raises maybe an interesting question, is or can a tester also be a creator? Is testing is purely cold energy that is focused on destruction with precision, or does it also involve some ego, intent, or maybe even being an art form? So to end my review, maybe the last thought is that it really touched me, and what touched me the most was the affection, sometimes even slightly more than that. And to me, this is something, there is something genuinely moving about seeing such emotional investment in one's profession and what one does. So it's rare, and to me, that's really beautiful. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
for me, it is such emotionally engaged that I probably will not be able to read another book like that. So if all books on software testing were like that, it would be probably the last book on testing that I would read. It is, for me, it's more like a multiverse experience. In real life, no one cares about software testing. No one takes it seriously. And then in the book, there is a
Whole
different
universe.
yes, different universe that cares about software testing. So it is like you go into, I'm not sure what, simulation, and then you suddenly like Vanilla Sky or something like that. So it is a very, very painful reading. And even people who are presented in the book as do not caring about software testing or even be against software testing, they care a lot more about software testing than real people in the real world. Yeah, so yeah, last book that I would recommend reading. Thank you.
Thank you, Iosif. You've certainly captivated our attention and attention of everyone who hasn't read it. And I'm being told that Rahul is with us today. Rahul, if you're still here, please say hi.
Here.
Hi there.
Everyone.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting the event. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your book.
Thank you for the kind review.
Thank you for your book being so evocative. Thank you so much. With this, we are done with the main part of our list. But before we move on to the concluding part of the session, we wanted you to take a look at 3 more books. 3 more books that are definitely worth your time. Wrong Timing is the only reason they haven't made the cut. But Wrong Timing is not even universally wrong. It's just wrong in the context of this book selection. If anything, these books were probably ahead of their time. So Iosif has a side note on the last book, I believe.
Yes, I will highly recommend the book released in 2023, Software Testing Strategies. It is, to a degree, a perspective on RST published 2 years before the book on RST. And everyone was aware about taking software testing seriously book. I do not necessarily think that people are aware that software testing strategies exist. It is an amazing book. It contains a very deep perspective, and it should be on every software tester's reading list. Thank you.
Thanks, Iosif. The last book we were going to share with the audience. I'm sorry. The last book we were going to share with the audience is Introduction to AI Testing, Guide to ISTQB CTAI Certification. It was written by a team here at ExactPro, including Iosif and Dmitrii, who are here with us today. Because we are unapologetically biased towards it, we didn't plan to review the book officially, but let me just say that whether you are an inspiring technology professional or a software tester or developer dabbling in AI or working with AI already, possibly even leading teams on AI-related initiatives, this book will make the subject of machine learning and AI much more structured and tangible for you, and your understanding of AI and machine learning well-rounded. With this, I'd like to also remind the audience of our courses that I mentioned at the very beginning. There are self-paced and guided courses, and there are some are have an ongoing enrollment, and some have fixed dates and more hands-on workshops and expert support. The closest date we have for the guided plan is January 19th, so if you're interested, do check it out. I believe we do have a question or a few questions maybe that we'd like to address. Do let me know if that's the case.
I would say our current course is more machine learning related, and it covers more generic topics on AI testing. So we are working on producing extensional webinars to cover things like agents, LLM, RAG, etc. So we are looking forward to have a number of webinars available to everyone early next year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Iosif. And I'm getting conscious of the time, and I think we should thank the audience for the questions and the comments coming in, and we will try our best to summarize all that in the email that we are going to follow up with tomorrow. And in conclusion, I'd like to thank our reviewers and our reviewing panel for their time and effort in delivering their insights. We also would like to thank our esteemed authors of the book that came to visit us and support us for their passion towards these subjects and for stimulating our curiosity and critical thinking abilities. And I wish everyone wonderful holidays. Stay tuned for tomorrow's email announcing our winners, and we look forward to seeing you at our next events. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thanks a lot for joining us.